10 things they feel when you simply disappear. Stoic. Stoicism. Hook in any relationship, we often find ourselves walking a fine line between being valued and being taken for granted. It's easy to feel like a constant presence, always there, for others, offering support or affection without question. But what happens when you suddenly disappear? What if, instead of easing out of their lives gradually, you vanish completely, leaving no explanation behind? This absence, though seemingly harsh, forces those left behind to face some uncomfortable truths. The silence that follows can stir deep reflections, pushing them to reassess not only their perception of you, but also their own emotional needs and behaviors. In this video, we'll dive into the 10 things they feel when you simply disappear, exploring how such a radical shift can trigger profound realizations in others. Through the lens of modern Stoicism and the Stoic secrets of emotional independence, detachment, and self-awareness, we'll discover how this action can lead to growth for both sides, shaping how we navigate relationships in today's world. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. 10 things they feel when you simply disappear. Number 1. The sting of rejection. When you disappear from someone's life, the first emotion they are most likely to experience is the deep, stinging feeling of rejection. This is a wound that goes far beyond the mere physical absence of your presence. It is a profound emotional ache that cuts straight to the heart. It's not just that you're no longer there, it's the shock, the sudden realization that the bond they once took for granted, the one they assumed was solid and unbreakable, has now been severed. Imagine this. You were once a constant in their life, always there, offering support, companionship, and care. And then, without warning, you're simply gone. This unexpected disappearance forces them to confront an emotional reality they never anticipated, one that leaves them grappling with the intense raw sting of rejection. They might find themselves caught up in a whirlwind of introspection, asking questions like, what did I do wrong? Did I take them for granted? Was I too distant or too absorbed in my own life to recognize how much they truly meant? These questions will haunt them as they try to make sense of the emptiness you left behind. For many, the pain of rejection is not just the sorrow of losing someone, but the deeper ache of losing control. It's the sudden realization that their sense of comfort, their emotional safety net, is gone. They had always believed that you would be there, that you would always be a steady presence in their life. And yet, in a flash, they're forced to face the fragile nature of that assumption. They now find themselves confronted with the sobering truth that they never truly understood your value until it was too late. This is where the real pain lies, not just in missing someone, but in realizing that they only understood the depth of what they had once they lost it. But here's the silver lining in all of this. That sting, as painful as it may be, can serve as a powerful catalyst for change. Sometimes, it takes the loss of something precious to push us into self-reflection, to help us reevaluate our priorities and our behavior. The absence of your presence will resonate deeply within them, louder than any words could ever express. It will force them to confront their own actions, their neglect, and the realization that they took you for granted. Though this process is undoubtedly uncomfortable, it has the potential to lead to significant personal growth. The rejection they feel isn't just about missing you. It's about facing the reality that they've lost something truly valuable, something they never fully appreciated until it was no longer a part of their life. This is a humbling lesson, one that may take time to process and understand fully. But the question remains, will they learn from this experience? Will they grow from the loss? Or will they continue on their way, never fully grasping the magnitude of what they've lost? It's a question that we all must face when we experience the loss of something important in our lives. In the context of modern Stoicism, we know that loss, though painful, is an inevitable part of life. It is not the loss itself that defines us, but how we respond to it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, loss is just a change in form. It is our response to that change, our ability to accept it and learn from it, that truly shapes who we are. So I ask you, have you ever found yourself taking something or someone too much for granted only to realize its true worth, once it was no longer part of your life? How did you cope with that sense of loss? And how did it shape you moving forward? These are the kinds of questions that help us grow, as individuals and as human beings. The path of self-improvement and Stoic wisdom lies in our ability to face loss, learn from it, and emerge stronger. Number 2, the void of missing you. When you leave someone's life, an emptiness starts to settle in. At first, the sting of rejection may cloud their perception, but soon a deeper void takes its place. It's one thing to lose someone emotionally, but the silence that follows is something else entirely. They may initially convince themselves they won't miss you, but eventually the truth hits them. Life becomes duller, and their daily routine feels disrupted. The things that once brought them joy no longer seem significant without you. This emptiness isn't just emotional, it's a sense of incompleteness, as if something vital has been removed. They'll try to fill the gap by seeking distractions like dating others or spending more time with friends. But none of these substitutes can replace the unique connection they shared with you. The void grows more apparent with each attempt to replace you as they realize no one else brings the same energy, understanding, or comfort. They'll begin to appreciate the small, often overlooked moments you shared, the quiet support, the laughter, the simple companionship. Slowly, they'll come to terms with the fact that what they once had with you can't be easily replaced. This reflection may lead them to reconsider past mistakes and wonder if there's a way to repair what they've lost. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In this sense, your absence becomes a turning point in their growth, pushing them to confront what they once took for granted. For you, the one who has disappeared, the Stoic secret lies in understanding that this void, as painful as it is for them, reflects your own strength and clarity. You are not defined by their reaction to your absence. Instead, this is a chance for you to live according to your own principles, shaping your life without needing the validation of others. It's not about intentionally creating emptiness or causing harm. It's about recognizing that your power lies in shaping your own life. The space you've left behind mirrors their vulnerabilities, but for you, it should remind you to focus on your own emotional growth. The Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within, not from external circumstances. Seneca reminds us, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is true when we project fear or doubt onto situations, fearing that the absence of one person will bring permanent loss or emptiness. The Stoic path is about realizing that the only real void is the one we create within ourselves by depending on others for our happiness. The challenge isn't to be consumed by the idea of being missed, but to stay centered, knowing that your worth isn't tied to someone else's perception of your absence. Instead, focus on cultivating inner peace and emotional resilience so that even in loss you remain whole. In modern life, we often become overly attached to relationships, people, and outcomes. The Stoic secret is to remember that nothing external should dictate your inner fulfillment. When you leave someone's life, whether by choice or circumstance, it's an opportunity for both of you to reassess your emotional dependency and growth. The void they feel isn't a reflection of your failure, but a chance for them to confront their own self-reliance. Though uncomfortable, this process can lead to deeper understanding and more meaningful connections in the future. It's important to realize that you don't owe anyone your emotional labor or presence if it compromises your growth. So, when the void appears, whether for them or even for you, embrace it. See it not as a loss, but as a moment for reflection and strength. You have the power to fill that space with your own wisdom, clarity, and focus. As you move through life, don't fear letting go of what no longer serves you. Doing so may create a void, but as the Stoics teach us, the void is not something to fear. It's simply an opportunity for a new beginning, one that can lead you to a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. Number 3. Overwhelming curiosity. When you simply disappear, one of the most powerful emotions the other person will feel is an overwhelming curiosity. As time passes, their need to know what you're doing, where you are, and who you're with only intensifies. They start to spiral, constantly asking themselves, what are they doing now? Are they seeing someone else? Have they moved on? The uncertainty gnaws at them, leaving them restless, desperate for any form of answer that might ease their anxiety. This curiosity, born out of insecurity, becomes an all-consuming obsession. Every unanswered question amplifies their fears, and soon they begin to wonder if you're better off without them. Unable to settle their mind, they begin checking your social media for any clues, but when they find nothing, their frustration only deepens. As the silence continues, they may even reach out to mutual friends hoping for a glimpse into your life, but never admitting just how much they care. The inability to gain any answers pushes them to the brink of obsession. Their mind races with endless possibilities, each scenario more alarming than the last. Maybe you've found someone else. Maybe you've moved on completely, or maybe you're happier without them. In truth, the longer the silence lingers, the more they become trapped in a mental loop of overanalyzing every interaction, searching for hidden meanings in every word or gesture you shared. This overwhelming curiosity isn't just idle wondering. It grows into an urgent need to make sense of the mystery you've left behind. As modern Stoicism teaches us, we cannot control the actions of others, only how we react to them. By embracing the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live," we can recognize that their feelings of uncertainty are their own to process, and we are not responsible for the way they seek answers. The absence of communication can become a mystery that captivates them long after you've disappeared, but that, too, is part of life's ebb and flow. In today's world of constant communication and instant updates, it is easy to forget that silence can speak louder than words. The inability to fill in the gaps in their knowledge about you makes your absence a story they can't stop writing in their minds. The more you remain silent, the more they'll be driven to find a narrative, no matter how distorted it may become. This experience can be difficult for both parties, but it's important to remember that you have no obligation to be anyone's puzzle to solve. Instead, in this age of overwhelming curiosity and endless distractions, embrace the Stoic practice of focusing on what is within your control. And, as you move forward, remember that you can't prevent others from feeling what they feel. However, you can remain anchored in your own truth, free from the pull of their relentless questioning. Number 4. Deep self-reflection. When you disappear from someone's life, the absence you create can stir emotions in ways they never expected, and one of the most profound responses they'll have is deep self-reflection. At first, they might feel a sense of confusion or even frustration, but over time, the silence forces them to look inward. They'll begin to replay everything, the moments where they were distant, selfish, or perhaps even neglectful. This isn't just a passing thought. It's an uncomfortable process that drags them into the depths of their own actions. They'll ask themselves tough questions, questions that might sting. Was I really there for them? Did I take them for granted? Was I emotionally available? It's the kind of reflection that brings discomfort because it's not about blaming you, but about acknowledging their own faults. Without your presence, they can't distract themselves from their own behavior. They'll find themselves revisiting moments where they failed to appreciate you, where they didn't consider your feelings, and that awareness can hit harder than anything else. It's not easy to realize you may have been the one to harm the relationship, and the guilt starts to settle in. This is where the Stoic secrets come into play. The notion that we cannot change the past, but we can learn from it. This painful process of self-awareness is the key to their growth. It's not that they suddenly become perfect, but this reflection allows them to understand just how much they've hurt you and the value of what they've lost. And as the days go by, the weight of regret grows heavier. They might wish they could turn back time to fix things they now see clearly. But as you and I both know, the past is immutable. They can't undo their actions, but they can learn. The emotional pain they feel, the understanding of their mistakes will eventually guide them to a deeper level of self-awareness. This is the essence of true growth. So, as you think about this, ask yourself, have you ever had to confront your own mistakes after someone disappeared from your life? What was that like for you? Did it change how you approach relationships going forward? It's a reminder for us that sometimes space and absence create the conditions for true reflection, and ultimately for meaningful change. This is one of the hardest lessons we learn, but it's also one of the most valuable. Sometimes people need the time apart to understand what they've lost and how they can be better in the future. It may be difficult to see at the time, but this type of reflection can lead to the growth both of them and of you. And in the end, that's what matters most. We can only change by acknowledging where we've gone wrong, and this is where the Stoic secrets lie. The pain and discomfort are not to be feared, but embraced, for they show us where we need to grow. Let me ask you this. If you're ready to embrace deep self-reflection and grow from your past experiences, now is the time to act. Take a moment to commit to your own personal growth by liking this video and commenting below. I'm ready to learn from my past. True growth begins when we face the discomfort of our mistakes and use them as stepping stones for a better future. Let's walk this path together, embracing the Stoic secrets that will guide us towards deeper self-awareness and transformation. Number 5. The urge to pursue you. When you disappear from someone's life, something remarkable happens. They start to feel a deep urge to pursue you, but it's not because they've realized the full value of what they had with you. Not yet, at least. It's because the absence of you creates a void, a sense of loss that they feel they need to fill. After enough reflection, something inside them shifts, and the desire to regain control over the situation takes hold. They'll begin to make efforts to reach out to you, hoping to win you back and fix the broken parts of their connection. But it's not just about reconciliation, it's about control. They might start by texting you, liking your posts, or casually commenting on your pictures. It may seem as though they're trying to play it cool, but beneath that calm exterior there's a powerful desperation to rekindle what was lost. But here's where things get interesting. The more they try, the more they'll realize something crucial. You've already made your decision. They may post pictures, go out, or share moments of their life, all in an attempt to provoke some sort of reaction from you. They're trying to manipulate the situation, hoping that their actions will make you feel something, anything. But what they fail to see is that they're playing a game they can't win because you've already shifted. Your emotional availability is no longer there. The power dynamics have completely flipped. What they don't understand at the moment is that the more they push, the further away they push you. Their desperate attempts at reconnection only make them seem more vulnerable, and in turn their desperation makes you more resolute in your decision to move forward. This may feel jarring for them, a shift in power they weren't prepared for. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Their fear of losing you has now become the very force that drives them to chase after something they can no longer control. And what does this tell you about the nature of relationships? Have you ever been in a situation where you were forced to let go of something or someone, only to later see that person struggle to regain what they thought they had control over? Isn't it strange how, when we stop chasing something, it often starts chasing us. This is the paradox we face in modern Stoicism. When we let go of the need to control the outcome, we often find that the outcome comes to us naturally. I believe this is a crucial lesson for all of us. The Stoics teach us that we should not let external circumstances define our inner peace. Instead of chasing after things that are outside our control, like someone's affection or validation, we can focus on what we can control: our reactions, our actions, and our emotions. This is not about cold detachment, it's about freeing ourselves from the need for validation and finding strength in our own sense of self-worth. I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you felt the urge to pursue something because you feared losing it? Did that chase bring you peace, or did it leave you feeling more anxious, more uncertain? It's a humbling thought, isn't it? That sometimes the more we try to grasp something, the further it slips away. But in this, there's wisdom, an invitation to practice the Stoic art of letting go. In modern Stoicism, the lesson is clear. The less we cling to the outcome, the more at peace we become with whatever comes our way. When you stop trying to control everything and simply accept that things will unfold as they will, you'll find that your peace, your strength, and your true sense of worth are not dependent on anyone's pursuit. When we take a step back, we find that we're the ones with the power. Number 6. The battle between relief and regret. When you vanish from someone's life, the initial reaction they may experience is one of relief. They might feel a fleeting sense of liberation, as if they've been freed from the emotional burdens the relationship brought. In that moment, they may convince themselves that this distance is the key to finding peace, and that they are better off without you. They may dive into distractions, work, socializing, or even casual relationships, believing these diversions will be the solution to the emotional strain they've carried for so long. This sense of relief, however, is short-lived. It doesn't take long for the absence of your presence to slowly start gnawing at them. At first, it might be subtle, a whisper of emptiness that creeps in. Over time, this sensation deepens, and they begin to realize that the freedom they once thought was their escape was, in fact, only a temporary illusion. The distractions they sought to fill the gap, while initially satisfying, turn out to be hollow. The excitement of freedom fades, and they are left with the haunting realization that something, someone, is missing. The more they reflect, the more they come to understand that the connection they had with you wasn't just another part of their life. It was a foundation, a core of emotional support and understanding that they can't easily replace. The temporary thrill of solitude gives way to a deeper sense of regret as they realize the value of the bond they once shared with you. Freedom, they come to see, isn't fulfilling when it's not accompanied by the warmth of meaningful connection. The longer they try to fill this void with distractions, the more pronounced the sense of loss becomes. Regret sets in. It's not just about missing you, it's about recognizing how they took you for granted. They will begin to wish they had treated you with more care, more appreciation, and made different choices during the time they had you. The deeper they delve into these thoughts, the stronger their sense of regret grows. The reality becomes painfully clear. They can't undo the past, and the emotional gap they feel now is a consequence of their earlier actions. They will wrestle with this regret, hoping they could somehow turn back time to amend their mistakes. But the past cannot be rewritten, and they are left to face the reality that what they've lost is irretrievable. This is the battle between relief and regret, a battle that no amount of distractions or superficial solutions can resolve. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In the context of relationships, this could mean that true fulfillment doesn't come from fleeting pleasures or distractions, but from genuine connections and emotional investments. Your absence reveals the depth of what truly mattered, something no temporary escape can replace. In modern life, we often find ourselves caught in the trap of seeking quick fixes and distractions when we feel overwhelmed or burdened by relationships. But the truth is, the emotional connections we form are not easily replaced. They are built on shared experiences, mutual respect and understanding, things that cannot be substituted by new people or passing pleasures. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, perhaps on the other side of this equation, remember, the Stoic secret: true freedom and fulfillment are found not in running from your problems or avoiding emotional investment, but in confronting your feelings and cherishing what is truly valuable. When you acknowledge the depth of your connections, you realize that what you had with someone is irreplaceable. Embrace this wisdom and use it to guide your actions in the future, as a reminder that fulfillment cannot be found in fleeting distractions, but in genuine, meaningful bonds. Number 7. The desire to play the game. When you disappear from someone's life, especially after a deep connection, it can trigger a range of emotional responses that reveal much about their inner state. One of the most revealing reactions is the desire to play the game, a response born from insecurity and the need to regain control. Regret quickly follows, and with it, panic. In an attempt to rekindle the connection, they may resort to manipulative tactics, trying to provoke a reaction from you. This often comes in the form of posting pictures with others to create the illusion they've moved on, or sharing status updates that suggest they are perfectly fine without you. These actions are subtle attempts to stir jealousy, make you doubt yourself, and draw you back into emotional drama. The goal is clear. They want to make you feel uncertain or triggered enough to reach out, show concern, or re-engage. But these behaviors are rooted in desperation and insecurity. They believe that by provoking you, you'll return to the chase. But in reality, their game playing only exposes their emotional immaturity and lack of self-awareness. This is where modern Stoicism offers valuable insight. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus teach us to be indifferent to others' manipulations. The wealth of emotional stability comes from not allowing others to manipulate our emotions with their games. You, having emotionally detached yourself, no longer engage with these tactics. It's not that you're cold, but that you've learned to prioritize your peace over their chaotic games. When you stop reacting to their attempts, the power dynamic shifts. They soon realize their usual tactics no longer work, and the absence of your response becomes the greatest power you hold. You've removed yourself from their game entirely. As their manipulation continues, their desperation increases, becoming more transparent and futile. They begin to realize that their emotional influence over you is slipping away. It's not that you've stopped caring, but rather that you've found emotional sovereignty, a key principle of modern Stoicism. This emotional control means you remain grounded, unaffected by their attempts to provoke or manipulate. Their games only expose their emotional vulnerability, showing how desperate they've become to regain control. The more they play these games, the more they reveal their insecurity. By this point, you've long since stopped reacting, and their tactics become increasingly futile. The Stoic mindset helps you see these games for what they truly are: empty attempts to regain something they've lost. Instead of drawing you closer, their behavior only pushes you away. In the end, their manipulation only highlights their emotional immaturity, reinforcing their inability to grow emotionally. The more they engage in these futile tactics, the more they isolate themselves, underscoring the very thing they fear, losing their emotional influence over you. By playing these games, they only push you further away and deepen their own insecurity. This is why embracing a Stoic mindset is so powerful in modern relationships. By not reacting to their games, you preserve your emotional sovereignty, refusing to get caught in their cycles of manipulation. True strength comes from realizing their emotional chaos is not yours to fix, and that peace of mind is far more valuable than any reaction they hope to provoke. As Epictetus also said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." It's not about their actions, but how you choose to rise above them, finding peace in the face of manipulation and showing true emotional maturity. Number 8. The crushing weight of silence. Imagine you've decided to distance yourself from someone, whether because they've wronged you or simply because it's time to focus on yourself. In that moment, the weight of silence becomes undeniable. It's not just the lack of words, it's the emotional void that follows. Silence can be more powerful than any argument, forcing the other person to confront their own feelings and guilt. When you stop communicating, they are left alone with their thoughts, unable to avoid the reality of their actions. Every ignored text, every unanswered call, adds to the pressure. The silence becomes unbearable, and they may feel the urge to reach out, to break the quiet. But the longer the silence lasts, the more it becomes a boundary that reflects their own behavior, a boundary they can't cross on their terms. In a world where instant communication is the norm, the absence of your presence hits them harder than anything. They begin to spiral, wondering if they've lost you for good, and questioning what life will look like without you. The silence forces them to face their mistakes head-on. Without a response to distract them, they can no longer avoid the consequences of their actions. This self-reflection may lead to growth, but only after they've sat in the discomfort of their own guilt and loss. The silence becomes a painful yet essential experience, helping them understand the true impact of their behavior. In today's digital world, we are always connected, always reachable. But when that connection is severed, when someone steps back, it reveals the true consequences of their actions. Initially, they may feel rejected or confused, but the real lesson comes when they are left alone to reflect on what happened. The silence forces them to see themselves in a way that words or confrontation never could. This scenario is common. People often reach out, eager to reconnect, unaware that the silence was necessary. It's a space for them to reflect, to grow, and to face the reality of their behavior. The Stoic secrets teach us that sometimes stepping away and creating emotional distance is the most powerful way to communicate. It shows that there are consequences for our actions and that nothing in life is free from accountability. What can we learn from this? First, silence can be more impactful than any argument. It speaks volumes about the state of a relationship, forcing others to reckon with their actions in a way that words cannot. Though it may feel uncomfortable, silence is a key part of personal growth and understanding. Have you ever experienced the power of silence? Have you ever realized that stepping back from someone had a deeper impact than anything you could have said? In those moments, you begin to understand how powerful emotional distance can be. By embracing silence, we give others the chance to grow, even if it's painful at first. It shows them that they can no longer hide behind distractions and that their actions have consequences. The Stoic secrets remind us that we should not shy away from difficult truths, whether in our own lives or in the lives of others. Silence has a way of revealing those truths when words fail. Next time you feel the urge to break the silence, consider the lessons at play. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful message you can send. If you're still with me, it shows you understand the power of silence and reflection. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with the slogan, "Silence reveals the truth." Let's keep this journey of growth going together. More thought-provoking content is on the way. Don't miss it. Number 9. The fear of losing you for good. When you disappear from someone's life, something begins to shift in their mind, and with each passing moment of silence, a terrifying realization starts to settle in. They might have lost you for good. At first, they might have convinced themselves that they could move on easily, maybe even replace you, but now the idea that you're truly gone from their life begins to gnaw at them. This fear isn't just about missing you, it's the suffocating anxiety that comes with the thought of losing someone permanently. someone who once was a steady part of their existence. They begin to imagine a future where you're living your life without them, perhaps even with someone else, building new memories, laughing at new jokes, and sharing moments they're no longer a part of. The more they think about this, the more the fear deepens. It drives them to obsess over the idea of you being happy without them, and the possibility that they may never again earn your trust or affection. It's an overwhelming sense of helplessness that can shake their very foundation. This fear starts to manifest in desperate, irrational actions. They might start sending texts, pouring out apologies, even showing up at your door uninvited, hoping that some grand gesture will somehow change the situation. But by this point, the damage has already been done. You've emotionally moved on, and their attempts, though earnest, often feel like too little, too late. The fear of permanent loss only amplifies their desperation, making them realize that no matter how hard they try, they can no longer control the outcome. They beg and plead, but in their hearts, they know that the emotional distance has grown, too vast to easily close. The fear of losing you for good forces them to face a harsh truth. Their actions, whether through neglect, miscommunication, or indifference, have consequences, and they may never be able to turn back the clock to fix what's been broken. This is where the teachings of modern Stoicism can offer some insight. The fear of losing someone is a reflection of wanting something we can't control, something that's no longer within our grasp. When we recognize that we cannot change the past, we are freed from the weight of that fear. It's a difficult lesson to learn, but it's one that can help us navigate not just the fear of losing someone, but the realization that attachment, though a natural human instinct, must be balanced with an understanding that all things are temporary. Have you ever experienced the fear of losing someone, only to realize that your attempts to hold on were actually pushing them further away? How did you deal with that feeling? And what did it teach you about the nature of relationships and attachment? The fear of loss is a natural part of life, but it's how we respond to it, how we let go when necessary, that shapes our growth. As Stoicism teaches, it's not the loss itself that defines us, but our response to it. How will you respond? Number 10. The realization of emotional independence. When you quietly disappear from someone's life, it triggers a profound shift in their perspective. One of the most significant realizations they'll face is the sudden awareness of emotional independence, something they may never have understood until they witness you living it. As the reality of your absence settles in, they begin to understand that you no longer rely on them for emotional validation or fulfillment. This can be both humbling and unsettling for them. Throughout your relationship, they might have tried to control or influence you, but now they see you thriving without needing anyone else to define your emotional state. This shift is powerful. They realize they've been emotionally dependent, using relationships as a way to fill their own insecurities. Your absence forces them to confront their vulnerabilities and recognize that their happiness cannot be reliant on another person. Through your example, you've shown them that true strength comes from within, a concept they have yet to fully grasp. As they reflect on the void left by your departure, they start to realize that a healthy relationship is built on two self-sufficient individuals, not emotional neediness. This realization is eye-opening but comes with regret, as they understand they missed the opportunity to cultivate a healthier dynamic, one where both contribute equally and don't seek emotional fulfillment from each other. Over time, they come to see that emotional independence doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you more attractive and worthy of respect. In a world where relationships often depend on emotional attachment, your ability to stand firm on your own becomes a benchmark for them. They begin to understand that emotional independence is not to be feared, but should be strived for. Your disappearance serves as a mirror to their own emotional growth, pushing them toward self-awareness and encouraging them to seek happiness and stability from within, rather than relying on others. This journey toward emotional independence is not just a lesson for them, it's a Stoic secret in action. In modern life, we often become entangled in the emotional needs and expectations of others, forgetting that true peace comes from within. The Stoics teach that real freedom lies in our ability to be content without external validation. Your emotional independence shows others that they too can cultivate inner peace and resilience. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Your ability to walk away from emotional dependence becomes a model for them, inspiring them to take charge of their own happiness and stop relying on external sources for fulfillment. Emotional independence isn't just about self-sufficiency. It's about respecting yourself enough to know you don't need anyone to complete you. By embodying this truth, you show others that healthy relationships are based on mutual respect, not dependency. Your journey of emotional resilience becomes a Stoic secret, a reminder that true value comes from within, not from others' approval. In conclusion, when you simply disappear from someone's life, they will experience a range of complex emotions and thoughts that may change how they view the relationship and themselves. Each feeling, from the sting of rejection to the realization of emotional independence, reflects deep aspects of their emotional journey. Whether you're the one leaving or the one left behind, these emotions are cues for growth and change in relationships. Valuable lessons and changes after you disappear. And now let's explore the valuable lessons and changes someone can go through after you disappear. Things that aren't always immediately apparent but are crucial for personal growth in the future. Stay with us, because these lessons will help you understand the power of silence and the positive transformations we can bring to ourselves and others through every decision we make in life. Number 1. The power of silence and emotional independence. In the aftermath of your disappearance, both you and the person left behind are thrust into the profound silence that follows. Silence, often overlooked in the chaos of modern life, holds immense power, speaking louder than any words could. For the one left behind, this silence forces them to face their own emotional vulnerabilities. Without the opportunity for validation or reassurance, they are left to sit with their own guilt, confusion, and regret. They begin to question their treatment of you, their behavior, and the bond they once took for granted. This internal struggle, rooted in self-doubt, becomes an intense experience. As they grapple with these emotions, they might even realize the depth of their dependence on you. In contrast, for you, silence is a statement of emotional independence. By choosing to disappear, you assert that you are no longer reliant on anyone for validation or emotional fulfillment. This powerful action sends a message: you are self-sufficient, strong, and capable of navigating life on your own terms, without needing external approval. As you embrace modern Stoicism, this silence is your way of reinforcing your autonomy, and in doing so, you create space to build a life aligned with your values and goals, free from the constraints of emotional dependence. By withdrawing, you create an absence of emotional energy that makes them realize a hard truth. Their happiness, just like yours, cannot be dependent on anyone else. The realization that you are emotionally independent forces them to confront their own emotional dependence and reconsider how they approach relationships. Over time, they may come to see that emotional independence is not a sign of detachment, but of strength and self-respect. This lesson will inevitably shape how they view themselves and their relationships in the future. They might start to reflect on the importance of building their own emotional resilience, understanding that only by developing a sense of self-sufficiency can they truly form healthy, balanced connections. Your absence, then, becomes a catalyst for their own growth, an uncomfortable yet necessary realization that will inspire them to take responsibility for their emotional well-being. As they process this, they may begin working on themselves, focusing on their own emotional needs, and striving to build the independence they never realized they lacked. Your silence echoes this idea. By needing less from others, you strengthen your own inner peace. Both you and they learn valuable lessons through this emotional silence, You learn the power of independence, and they learn the strength that comes from emotional self-sufficiency. This dynamic fosters growth in both, teaching you both to navigate life with a deeper sense of self-awareness and self-worth. It may be painful, but it is in these moments of silence that the deepest growth occurs. Number 2. Learning to let go and accept loss. When you disappear from someone's life, you leave behind more than just an empty space. You give them a chance to learn one of life's most valuable lessons: how to let go and accept loss. At siyl, first they might resist this reality, unable to accept that sometimes relationships, whether by choice or circumstance, must come to an end. You know the feeling. When the weight of a relationship starts to feel more like an anchor than a source of support. You've felt that inner pull to move on, and making the decision to step away is a form of self-care and personal growth for you. It's not about giving up. It's about understanding that this relationship is no longer serving either person in a healthy, positive way. In this space, they will slowly start to realize that clinging to something that isn't working only hinders their own growth. They'll begin to understand that letting go doesn't make them weak. It makes them wiser. This lesson is painful, but it's also incredibly necessary. It forces them to confront their attachment patterns, the way they hold on to people, even when they know deep down that the relationship is no longer benefiting either of them. And through this discomfort, they will start to evolve. As they move through the stages of acceptance, they'll begin to understand that life is constantly shifting, and it's okay to release relationships that no longer serve them. Think about it. How many times have we held on to something or someone only to realize that the more we cling, the more we stifle our own growth? By learning to let go, they'll learn to stop living in the past, which can keep them stuck, and begin focusing on their emotional healing. This process allows them to appreciate the importance of moving forward rather than wasting energy on what no longer exists. In the long run, this lesson in letting go will help them build healthier, more emotionally independent relationships in the future, where both partners stand as equals and can navigate life's challenges without relying on each other for emotional validation. To put it in perspective, imagine you're holding onto a balloon that's tethered to the ground. At first, letting go seems impossible, but once you do, you realize that you're no longer weighed down and you've set yourself free. This is what they will feel too. Over time, they may start to focus on their own personal growth and self-improvement, knowing that by letting go, they've given themselves the emotional freedom to move forward. Isn't this one of the Stoic secrets? That through pain and discomfort, we come to understand that we are in control of our own peace, and the only way forward is through acceptance and release. And so I ask you, have you ever let go of something that wasn't serving you? Was the pain worth the growth that followed? Learning to release what no longer benefits us can be one of the most empowering things we ever do, not just for ourselves, but for those around us too. Number 3. Discovering your inner strength. When you choose to disappear from someone's life, whether physically or emotionally, it sends a strong message to both them and yourself. It's not just about leaving, it's about reclaiming your personal power and rediscovering your inner strength. By walking away, you show yourself that you can stand on your own without needing others to feel validated or whole. This takes courage and clarity, as it means stepping away from what's familiar even if it's comfortable, but no longer serves you. It's about embracing change, no matter how uncomfortable, with conviction. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Your choice to disappear reflects your emotional self-sufficiency. You no longer need anyone to determine your happiness or well-being. By taking control of your emotions, you create space for personal growth and healing, allowing you to move forward with strength. But this decision also deeply impacts the person left behind. It forces them to confront their own emotional resilience and self-worth. If they've relied on you for emotional stability or support, Your absence will challenge their assumptions about their own strength. They will begin to realize that relying on others for validation is not sustainable. Their dependence on you may have prevented them from developing their own emotional independence. Your departure forces them to look inward, encouraging them to find their own inner strength. They'll question how much of their well-being was tied to external factors, and how much of it can be nurtured from within. Though painful, this realization is transformative. It will push them to develop their own emotional resilience, encouraging practices like self-care, mindfulness, and reflection. These tools will help them grow stronger, independent, and better equipped to face challenges on their own. In a way, your absence becomes the catalyst for their personal development. At first, they may not understand it, but in time, they will come to appreciate the lesson you unintentionally taught them. As the Stoics believed, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Your decision to walk away may have provided them with the strength they didn't realize they needed. Your choice to embrace independence and discover your own inner power serves as a lesson not just for you, but for those around you. It demonstrates that emotional maturity isn't about relying on others for support, but about developing the resilience to stand strong on your own. Your journey will help build a stronger foundation within yourself, and it may inspire others to do the same. This is one of the Stoic secrets. The true power lies not in seeking validation from others, but in discovering the strength that already resides within you. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you looked within for strength instead of depending on external sources? What would it feel like to stand firm in your own resilience, completely self-sufficient? By embracing your own power, you not only transform yourself, but inspire others to build their own emotional strength. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, mastering your own emotional world and finding peace and strength within yourself. As you reflect on discovering your inner strength and embracing the power of self-sufficiency, take a moment to commit to your personal growth. Just like choosing to stand strong and independent, let's take the first step together. Share your commitment with our community by commenting, "I'm ready to reclaim my power." It's time to take charge of your emotional resilience and continue on your journey of growth. Together, we'll explore more Stoic secrets to help you achieve true strength and self-reliance. Number 4. Practicing confidence and self-respect. When you choose to disappear from someone's life, you unintentionally teach them a profound lesson in confidence and self-respect. In that moment, you show them that you won't settle for less than you deserve, signaling that you value yourself and won't tolerate disrespect or neglect. Walking away becomes more than just distancing yourself. It's an affirmation of your own worth, proving that your happiness isn't dependent on others' approval. By doing so, you force them to reflect on their own behavior. Your absence makes them realize that confidence and self-respect are foundational for healthy relationships. Without these qualities, no relationship, no matter how close, can thrive. They are forced to confront their reliance on external validation and understand that self-worth comes from within. Over time, this lesson will weigh heavily on them. They'll begin to understand that in order to build meaningful relationships, in the future they must first cultivate their own sense of self-worth. Your departure acts as a mirror, highlighting their lack of boundaries and emotional independence. The longer they sit with this realization, the clearer it becomes. True confidence isn't about how others see you, but how you view yourself. As they absorb this lesson, they may start setting healthier boundaries and prioritizing their emotional needs, just as you did by walking away. They will come to see that self-respect isn't only about avoiding mistreatment, it's about creating a life where they refuse to accept anything less than they deserve. In today's world, many of us seek approval and validation from others, especially in relationships. But your actions have shown them that true emotional stability comes from prioritizing self-respect over external validation. Modern Stoicism teaches that real happiness doesn't come from others' admiration, but from within. The relationships that flourish are those where both individuals stand firm in their own self-worth, building a foundation on mutual respect. By walking away, you've reminded them that self-love and confidence are necessary for creating healthy relationships. When you respect yourself, you naturally attract relationships that respect you in return. This lesson will stay with them long after you've gone, shaping how they approach relationships in the future. Your disappearance wasn't just about leaving. It was about teaching them to stand strong in their own self-respect and seek relationships that nurture their emotional well-being. Number 5. Building healthier relationships in the future. When you disappear from someone's life, especially after a deep connection, it can shake their world. Initially, they may feel lost or confused, but as time passes, something surprising happens. They start to realize their approach to relationships might not have been as healthy as they thought. Your absence forces them to reflect on what makes a relationship truly strong. This is where the Stoic secrets of emotional independence and self-awareness come into play. As the Stoics teach us, we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. They will soon realize that relationships are best built on mutual respect, emotional independence, and open communication, rather than manipulation or dependency. They'll begin to understand that healthy relationships thrive when both people contribute equally, without relying on the other for constant validation. This shift happens when they let go of the belief that someone else has to complete them. It's the difference between clinging to someone out of insecurity versus finding balance within themselves and sharing that balance in a relationship. Over time, they'll also recognize the importance of emotional maturity. Stoicism teaches us to accept things as they are, without seeking constant approval or clinging to outcomes. They'll start to see that relationships require emotional balance, where both people can give and receive support equally, without manipulation. They may realize they've been in relationships before where they tried to please the other person at their own expense. But now, they're starting to understand they deserve a partnership where both people are valued for who they are, not just for what they can offer. This realization shifts their mindset and leads to healthier, more sustainable connections. They'll learn that relationships are not about competition but about mutual respect, where both people thrive individually. This shift will allow them to avoid unhealthy patterns in future relationships, helping them spot red flags and stay true to their values. Think about someone who, after your disappearance, begins to focus on their own self-awareness. They might recognize that they've been seeking constant validation from their partner and neglecting their own emotional needs. Over time, they'll start prioritizing their personal growth and emotional independence. They will learn to set healthy boundaries and communicate clearly, which will make their future relationships stronger and more balanced. These relationships will be based on equality, mutual respect, and shared goals. As they embrace these changes, they'll be more capable of offering respect and support without losing their own sense of self. This is one of the Stoic secrets. The realization that growth comes through challenges, and your disappearance was the challenge that sparked their transformation. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel emotionally dependent on someone, take a step back and reflect on your own worth. Are you seeking validation from someone else, or are you learning to find fulfillment within yourself? True emotional independence is the foundation of healthy relationships. It allows both people to thrive individually while still offering support and respect to one another. This is the essence of modern Stoicism: emotional resilience, understanding your own value, and creating relationships that help you grow rather than drain you. The Stoic secrets will guide you toward emotional independence, and by doing so, help you build stronger, more fulfilling connections in the future. In conclusion, disappearing from someone's life can be a profound catalyst for growth, both for you and for the person left behind. The 10 feelings we've explored show how emotional detachment and independence can reshape relationships. Choosing to step away, You not only reclaim your emotional power but also help others realize the importance of self-respect, healthy boundaries, and emotional independence. This is at the heart of modern Stoicism, which teaches that our emotional
well-being is our responsibility. Disappearing might feel harsh, but it can be one of the most empowering acts of self-love and growth.
Reflect on how you can apply these Stoic secrets in your own life. Are you setting the boundaries you need? How can you grow from an emotional distance? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Stoico in your life for more insights on how Stoicism can guide you to a more fulfilling life.